Hey, how you doing? It's your boy Brogi Naric back again with another episode of TV Aftermath. And in this one, I'm going to be reviewing Netflix's Masters of the Universe Revelation Part 1, which recently dropped on Netflix. It's sort of a spiritual continuation of the classic He-Man Filmation series. And some little bit of controversy about it. The internet's kind of, or at least a certain segment of the internet's go crazy about it in sort of a negative way. And it's on Netflix. It recently dropped, so you can check it out there. But before I get into this review, don't forget to like this video, share it, and subscribe to the channel. Still growing, and we could use your help. So thanks for doing that. Now, this was a show that was announced a couple of years back, and I didn't think it was going to happen because Kevin Smith is the main producer. He was attached to this. And Kevin Smith, if you don't know, he's a movie director. He's a big nerd, big into pop culture. Podcaster, usually hosts a lot of things, writer, and I'm a fan of his. I haven't seen many of his movies, but I like him and some of his ideas about certain things. And he's a guy that's always attached to projects, and most of the time they don't happen. So when they were like, hey, Kevin Smith is doing a He-Man reboot, I'm like, that shit's not happening. And I was proven wrong, surprisingly. It did come out, and I got more excited for it once they announced the cast, because the cast is huge. It's crazy. One of the great name casts in animated properties. There was another show that came out earlier, Invincible, which also had a crazy cast. And Invincible's cast was a lot of name movie actors and TV actors. And this one has name actors, the He-Man one, but it also has some legendary voice actors in it as well. And that's what makes this one even special. And my expectations weren't that high, but then I heard the cast, I saw the animation, the character designs. They dropped that trailer, which was amazing, and I was like, oh man, I can't wait to see this. And it came out, and I have to be honest, I was a little disappointed by the story. I was a little disappointed. Didn't hate it, but I was a little disappointed. I guess that my hype got a little. I was expecting a little more, and it came a little bit under what I was hoping for. So as a synopsis, I guess you should say, it's kind of a loose continuation of the original show. And after this great battle between He-Man and Skeletor, the planet of Eternia is slowly dying due to the loss of magic. And this ragtag team of various masters of the universe get together to try to save the planet, basically, because it's dying. And that's a non-spoilery rundown of the show. I will get into spoilers, a little bit of spoilers in a little bit, but I'm going to go non-spoilers so far. And so that's essentially the synopsis. And there's controversy around it because Kevin Smith, some people are like, well, is he really a fan? Which some people don't have to be a fan of the property that they're working on in order to be good. So I don't think that's really the greatest argument, because he says he was a fan, but then some people are like, well, did you really a fan? And he was like, well, I didn't really watch it that much growing up. It's not a big deal. Some people are concerned because it's a He-Man show, but they're worried it's not really going to focus on He-Man, and it's a little bit that some of that is there. It is. Some people, because initially it was announced as a Teela, it's going to focus more on Teela, and the show does focus more on Teela. That's kind of a spoiler, I guess. You got to watch the first episode. But, and I have no problem with them focusing on Teela. I just didn't necessarily care for Teela's character in this. That was kind of my problem with it. And, so that's kind of there's a little bit of a reason for people to be upset about that. But I don't think it goes too far in completely shitting on everything, because it does a good job of updating the classic designs and the characters and making them look cool. The animation is great. The action is dope. I love the action. Whenever they're fighting, it's really good. Like I said, there's some cool cameos and development of the lore. I think they're building off of the show and some of the side comic books, which I haven't really read or anything like that. And I'm not the biggest He-Man fan. I didn't really watch the original show. I've seen some episodes of it when I was older. Can't really get into it. It's very cheesy. And I don't have a problem with cheesiness, but this is a level where it's just it doesn't really work for me like that. I love the 2000, the show in the 2000s, stuff on Cartoon Network. That was really cool. And it's kind of a mesh of the two in terms of the seriousness of it and the classic sort of goofiness. They do cool throwbacks to like some of the classic adventure, or something that would seem like an adventure from the old show, and some of the cheesiness, which was cool. Um, with some of my problems, one of the big problems, no original theme song or any like cool update of anything, like no good theme song. I was disappointed. They did the same thing with the recent Transformers reboot on Netflix. Like it's like they just skip over the theme song, which is disappointing. The overall story is cool. I think the execution is a bit disappointing. Like I thought they could have did it a little better. And it's only 5 episodes. It's part one. I was expecting at least 6 or 7 because it was like the premiere, but it's only 5, which I was a little let down by that. But it's 5 episodes. It's easy to get through because they're all like 21, 24 minutes. So it's a quick watch. Another thing that was shocking, and like I said, I'm not the hugest fan, but I was surprised at how many like memorable and recognizable characters are just killed off. Like there's a good amount of characters that just end up dying, and I was kind of like, oh, okay, yeah, that was interesting. And I know some people are very attached to those characters, and will probably have a problem. I wasn't too attached, but I was just surprised at the amount of characters that they took out. And this weird sort of certain, like I said, I'll get more into the spoilers with the handling of the characters, but I didn't think certain characters are complaining about certain things. It didn't really make sense to me because it's like, if you're supposed to be a hero, why are you complaining about being a hero? Like silly shit like that, I just couldn't get with. And but I will say the ending at part 5 is cool. The ending is cool. Honestly, it's 5 episodes, but the first and the last episode are like my favorite episodes. And really, honestly, are really the only 2 episodes you really need to watch. Maybe a little bit of 4 because it's got Tony Todd in it. But other than that, it's like 1 and 5. This is the main things. So with that being said, if I were to give this a grade, my grade for Masters of the Universe Revelation Part 1 would be a C- or a 4.5 out of 10. A little let down. Like C is like average. It was just a little below that. Because there's certain things that I did like, certain things I didn't care for, and I thought it could have been handled better. Maybe just, I don't know if it's necessarily a rewrite or maybe just a refocusing of what they wanted to tell, I think would have helped it way more. But it is kind of in the middle for me. But I am looking forward to part 2 just to see where this goes. I'm not sure if that's going to be dropping by the end of this year or sometime next year. I would assume it'd be sometime later this year because that's usually how they don't take too long with these type of things. So I'm assuming, it's only 5 episodes. I'm assuming they got the next 5 already in production. But that's my non-spoilery thoughts. And if you like this, like the video, share it. And if you want to hear some spoilers thoughts, stick around because I'm about to get into spoilers. All right, let's get into some spoilers. Okay, so show starts off. Starts off really cool. Like I said, the first episode's really dope. Last episode's my favorite. Um, it's typical. The villains are getting taken to Castle Grayskull. Turns out it was a setup. It was Skeletor in disguise, and he's doing this all-out assault on Castle Grayskull. Eventually, He-Man and the crew arrive, and they charge in, and they're fighting. It's awesome. The fights between the characters is dope. Then we discover that Skeletor is really going for it this time, and he essentially tricks He-Man into unleashing this magic orb that's held within inside of Castle Grayskull, and the orb contains all the magic of the planet, which keeps the planet alive. And Skeletor is trying to take it over. Skeletor like cracks the orb, and it's going to cause an explosion. He-Man uses the Sword of Power to absorb the explosion and channel it through him, so it kind of goes up instead of out and destroying the planet and killing everybody around him. And he ends up sacrificing himself. And him and after the first episode, He-Man and Skeletor are dead. They're gone automatically, just off rip, gone. And I'm like, well, fuck. I came here to watch the He-Man show, and the two main antagonists and protagonists are now gone. Like, what the fuck? So it was a little taken aback, but it was kind of cool what it was building up to. And Teela finds out that Prince Adam is He-Man, and she's devastated. She's like, what the fuck? Like, you guys lied to me. She's upset at the queen because the queen knew didn't say anything. Man at Arms, her adopted dad knew didn't say anything. Adam was her best friend. He didn't say anything. So she's like, you know what? Fuck this. I'm done. I'm done with this hero shit. It's all bullshit. I'm done. And then there's like a time jump. I don't remember how long it's been. It feels like it's been almost a decade, maybe 7 to 8 years since that happened. And it's like now the planet is a bit more post-apocalyptic. People are starving. It's slowly dying. It's on the outs. Magic is not non-existent, but there's barely any magic there. Most of the magic stuff is faded away. People are starving, and like technology is starting to be the main focus of the planet. Because He-Man was always a good balance of tech and sorcery, so now the tech is taking over. The villain Triclops is like a big bad guy now, which I don't remember Triclops being that important. Like I said, I wasn't watching the show, but now Teela's like a sort of a mercenary. She's teaming up with this chick named Andra, who is like in the. I think she was like in the side comments. I don't know, but she's in this, and she's black. Some people are upset about that for some reason, but she's a fine character. She's like a engineer. She's a tech person, but she's not like super tech savvy. But she does enough. She was an alright character, and her Teela are just like friends. So they're working. They team up with Evil Lynn because they figure out she's got a plan, and basically the sword of power that gave He-Man his power is two swords, and once he died, the two swords went back to their respective places, which is basically heaven and hell. And Evil Lynn hires Teela to get her to help her and be like, hey, if we get the two swords back, we can recreate the sword of power, and then the sword of power would then be able to channel the magic and bring the magic back so we can save the planet. So they do that. And that's basically what they're doing throughout the 3 episodes, is them going on their journeys to get the two swords. Man at Arms is cool in this. He's voiced by Liam Cunningham. I'm not familiar with him. I think he's on Game of Thrones. He was dope. They really go out of their way to be like, hey, Man at Arms was really badass. And he's like building all these weapons and fighting. He had some good action sequences. Sarah Michelle Gellar plays Teela. I wasn't really feeling Teela like that. Like, there was a lot of Teela being very cynical about being a hero, and I just don't like when very heroic characters start bitching about being heroes. One of the reasons why I didn't really care for Zack Snyder's Superman, where she's just like, we spent all this time saving lives, and then you lied to me about He-Man and Adam, and then like even Man at Arms was like, he told us not to tell anybody. I'm sorry, but you weren't. That's what we were respecting his wishes, and I thought it was weird that I didn't think that was a big of enough of a problem for her to be so negative throughout most of the show and use that as her crutch to be very just negative about everything, and everyone's trying to get her to get back into it. And there's like various flashbacks to when He-Man was alive and him and her on various missions. That stuff was fun. Orko is in it. He's played by Griffin Newman. He was good as Orko. I was surprised that they killed Orko. Orko he got killed. He sacrificed himself basically. Orko I liked him in this. I didn't need him to die though. Moss Man got set on fire, which I was like, damn. Someone else died. Was it Trapjaw? Someone else. I can't remember. It's like Trapjaw or someone. It was like at least 2 other prominent characters got killed off. I was like, oh wow, okay. So they do this stuff. We got Tony Todd as Scareglow, is this like skeleton looking spooky guy. He's, I guess, the king of their version of hell or something. I don't know. He was cool because it's Tony Todd. But that was the episode where Teela has to face her fear in order for them to get out, or Scareglow wants to eat her fear, and then he'll let him get out of there. And apparently Teela's fear isn't being alone or losing her friends and family. Teela's fear is she's afraid of how awesome she is. I thought that was weird. She's like, oh, I'm so badass, I'm afraid of it. I'm like, what? That's your problem? It reminded me a little bit of like Captain Marvel in the Marvel MCU movies, where she's like, "I'm just so awesome, nothing can stop me," and that's all I got is I'm just awesome. I'm like, well, you got any other stuff going on? And it was just weird. I didn't really care for it, and especially if she's afraid of He-Man lying to her. Good lord, she's gonna be super upset when she finds out about who her mom is. You know what I'm saying? Which I'm surprised I remembered that. I was like, isn't her mom the sorceress or some shit? And yes, her mom was the sorceress. Um, the last episode is basically we see they end up in heaven and or the Eternian He-Man heaven where all the warriors go. So it's kind of like Valhalla basically. You have to be special to get there. That's like the special heaven. It's not like common people heaven. And all the previous He-Man champions are there. And you see the original He-Man, which in this version is a black guy. And I guess some people are upset about that as well. Voiced by Dennis Haysbert. Cool episode. You get He-Man, you get Hero, which is another one of the He-Man guys. You get Wondar, which he's like He-Man, but he's got like brown hair and black armor. You get the Grayskull, and you get this lady version of He-Man. And they're all like, not necessarily descendants. At least I think Grayskull is supposed to be a descendant of Adam. But they're the various He-Men throughout the out time, and they're all kind of hanging out. And they got the two swords. They need to reforge and rebuild the two swords. Really good episode. So basically, they do that. Roboto, he was cool. I forgot that he was Man-at-Arms' son or Robot's son or designed to be his son or some shit. Whatever. He ends up sacrificing himself to create the new sword. They go back to Earth, and He-Man's or Prince Adam goes back to Earth because he was dead, but like he can go back, but they don't know if he can get back into heaven. And if he dies again, he's not most likely going to get back into the special heaven or some shit. So he's like, I'm going to do it. And Tila was very shitty about it. Like she didn't want him to go. She didn't want to tell him what was the problem because he's like, dude, what's going on? Like, is everything all right? Because he has no idea what's going on. He doesn't know about the planet dying and all that. And for some reason, Tila doesn't want to tell him. And I'm like, don't you want to tell him? Because he's here to help you. Why are you being so stubborn about it? Like I said, Tila was just weird. I didn't, like I said, didn't care for her characterization. So He-Man, he's got the sword again. He's going to activate it. Magic's coming back because the sword can now draw the magic power because it's like a conduit to track magic or whatever. And right as he's about to transform and say, I have the power again, he gets stabbed in the back because Skeletor is still alive. He survived the initial explosion. He was in Evil Lynn's orb, and this was a part of his plan. And he's like, now that He-Man is officially out of the way because he killed him as Prince Adam, or he at least stabbed him. He's not dead. We don't know if he's dead yet, but he stabbed him with his staff. He takes the sword of power, and he's like, does the He-Man thing. I have the power. And he's like, now I'm the master of the universe. Which, great cliffhanger ending. Thought it was dope. So it's like, it was a little rocky in between, but I like the beginning. I like the ending. I'm going to be slightly optimistic about part 2 because I want to see how they wrap this up. Hopefully if they can tighten it up a little more, I think it'd be even better when it's part 1 and part 2 together. Mark Hamill was good as Skeletor. He was definitely doing a bit more of his Joker voice. He wasn't doing like the classic, "Oh, He-Man, I will destroy you." That he wasn't doing that voice. He was definitely doing more of his, "Oh, He-Man, I will destroy you," like that. But it worked. It worked because he's Mark Hamill, and it was good. Wish we had more of him in this show. But yeah, like I said, it's a bit of a mixed bag, but it's not the greatest. But it's not complete garbage like some people are trying to make it out. But it is a little underwhelming, I would say. Hopefully they can, tighten it up, make it better, second part. But let me know what you thought about the show. Are people being overly judgmental? Did you like it? Are you a fan? Are you a super fan and loved it? Are you like a middle level fan and liked it or hated it? Let me know in the comments. And like I said, don't forget to like this, share it, and subscribe to the channel. And stay tuned for more videos. Peace.